welcome to this latest episode of A Plus Wrestling here on A Plus Wrestling. We're going to be talking all things Backlash, among a couple other subjects, including a very sad subject on late breaking news that literally just happened or got announced just before we hit that record button. We're your hosts, I'm Boris, and on this week's show, I am more than pleased, I am adequately pleased that Daxavier is here to be here with me. I don't know what I just said. I'm tired. Dax, what's up?
I'm for once happy that I'm not on a second tank of empty like you are right now.
Yeah, right?
This is one of those, grateful times. I'm like, I see me through you right now.
Yeah.
Like this is what I act and sound like when I'm like burning the midnight oil.
Yep.
And
you do.
Lighting it.
You do.
And burning both sides of the candle.
This is exactly what you sound like, and it's something to say the
awesome.
least. I love it, man. I love it. Let's just jump straight into things before we geek out, before we talk Backlash, before we do what we do best here. Let's talk about some of this late breaking news. Literally right before we hit record, I was kind of going through my last minute notes. I always hit the Twitter machine because I like hurting myself like that. But unfortunately, right before we hit record, I saw a tweet from All Elite Wrestling, AEW, that said, AEW and the wrestling world mourns the passing of Sabu. From barbed wire battles to unforgettable high-risk moments, Sabu gave everything to professional wrestling. Our thoughts are with his family, his friends, and his fans. There you go. They had reported the passing of ECW legend Sabu. And it took us a couple moments to actually say, okay, this is legit. Like we both did, what we do as people who talk, or veterans in this podcasting world. Notice I'm not saying reporters or journalists or anything like that. Veterans.
But we do things in the fashion of media, of real press, and we try to pay respect in that fashion to try to, not provide misinformation or disinformation as much as possible, and lead that way. And
it was confirmed. We do have more than enough sources, credible sources at this point.
Yeah.
But yeah, Sabu has passed away. Oh man, this is what's crazy. It honestly feels like the movie The Wrestler, because just at WrestleMania weekend, he had his final match with Joey Janela.
Are you comparing him to the Warrior?
No. The Wrestler, like the movie. Mike.
No, I know, but you said just before you mentioned WrestleMania, and I remember Warrior kind of went out like that too.
Yeah, right after his Hall of Fame induction, it was again one of those crazy like you said. Sometimes you feel it, like it's something in their heart, in their soul. Yeah.
No, it's really sad. As somebody who lives here in Philly, which means I grew up. I'm 40. I'm 46. 47, I believe, and I grew up going to Swanson and Rittner, and going to those actual matches to see the Sabus, the Sandmans, the Ravens, the Tommy Dreamers, and such, and getting to see him in his prime do what he does, which was some of the craziest things at the time to do. Seeing him wrapped in barbed wire and all that stuff, and just living up to his uncles, or was his Uncle Sheik? Yeah. I mean, living up to his uncle's legacy and all that stuff, and he lived the way he lived, and I guess he left us the way he left us in a lot of ways. You can't say he didn't. He didn't do what he wanted to do in life, and he did, and he entertained us in the process. And I'm very grateful for his contributions into the wrestling world, whether people, consider him a wrestler or not. To that extent, he entertained people. He ended up in multiple places around the world, including the WWE at some point. He will be missed. He was definitely something. He's definitely someone who will not be forgotten. Hall of Fame or not.
Hall of Fame of our hearts, as I always like to say, which is
there you go.
The most important Hall of Fame anyone can be in, right? It's cool to get those accolades. It's cool to get those things, but there's certain things and there's certain people that I hold near and dear to my heart. And honestly, a lot of the ECW originals are there with me, right? And Sabu is one of them, like you mentioned. I just remember his appearances from Raw, and then when in the early days of the internet, watching his earlier appearances, or his appearances from like '95 in WCW. He's had runs everywhere.
FMW. FMW.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy because he's had runs in all the major companies, despite being that style that people didn't really embrace.
Yeah. But he also, in a lot of ways, do apply to the old school ways. I mean, he's the Bruiser Brodies. He's the Abdul the Butcher. So like you had, he's the original. He's paying homage to the original Sheik. So it's not like his style was really nuanced. They had characters like this, throughout history that were, celebrated in that way. Even in Japan, especially in Japan. My God, in Japan. At Sushi Onita, for God's sake. I'm sure he loved him. But I think because of the era it was, the 90s, and the fact that it became not just one, novelty character, it became a whole entire nuance of a generation of this type of this style, which was to some people like a cancerous spread cancer in the industry. It was what it was, but he was like the flagship dude for that. And he did not disappoint in the process.
He always put it out there, regardless of what he knew people thought about him. He always did his thing because he knew that at least one person in every show would love what he does. And again, huge thanks to Sabu. I'm like still wrapping my head around things. Like I hate seeing any like these things, but
especially for that age. I mean, like let's talk about like the age. I always have a saying when it comes to people who pass away at a certain age. I'm thinking 60 or younger is, to me it's sad when you're early and you got many more years to go. 70 and up is kind of like, all right, you lived out enough years to some respect to say like you might have lived enough to learn enough to, teach enough to do before you pass on. I mean, it's inevitable for all of us. But what you do within it is so important, which is why I try to, do my best to be my best, no matter what it is to do, because that time is coming.
That's exactly it. That is exactly it. It's everyone's time eventually comes. But yes, Sabu, thank you so much for all of the memories. Thank you for literally putting your body on the line each and every single night. Dax.
And thanks for making Philadelphia a household name. True indeed. Like he's part of the reason why Philadelphia is a hardcore crowd.
Absolutely, absolutely. Terrence, Michael, Terry, Brunk, thank you so much. All right, Dax, let's again, super sad stuff, but and I'm sure Sabu is someone who would want us to just get back to the show. And we're going to be following that. We're going to be talking about that and have a lot more reactions to Sabu and so much more later on this week. But today we are here to chat some WWE Backlash. Number one, I know Sundays are super busy for you. You have your own show that you record, produce, edit, get out there, etc., etc., etc. So that you're a little tired sometimes. So I do appreciate that you made the time, carved out some time in your busy day to chat some WWE. If you had told me when we first started talking that you would carve out time to talk WWE, I would have laughed at you. But here we are.
Like the road to surreal is still around. You know what's even funny? I mean, going back to that Sabu situation too, I wouldn't be surprised if Sabu ends up in next year's game.
Oh, absolutely.
That's how surreal WWE has been for a long time. For the last going on 2 years now of the stuff that they are doing to me that's like blowing my mind.
Remember the ECW Acclaim game for Dreamcast? Man,
I don't want to remember that. I don't want to. That wasn't what this was about. We don't bring the stuff which, by the way, which if you remember is just they used the same engine for the original WWE Raw
Attitude
game
and Raw.
Right, but they didn't give you the by the way, you know that Raw game was the very first wrestling game with a creative suite.
Yeah.
It was extremely limited, but it gave you an idea of like, we can do something with this. And then you saw other companies and studios start developing a more elaborate creative suite. And then it's to where we are right now. But it dates back all the way to that Acclaim game.
Yep. Yeah.
It was crap, but it came up with something creative within it.
Yeah, I remember going to my brother's friends. Now my friend, obviously, I've known this guy since literally I met him. WrestleMania 10 was the first time that he came over to our place. And we went over to his house. Oh man, we were playing WWE Attitude and WWE Raw like for hours and hours, and we thought it was so good. Little did we know that Japan was hiding a little something.
Yeah, it's funny you said that. Like every time I said that before because there's a import game that's coming out in America after 28 years. It's finally coming out, and I would explain to my listeners, there's like, you realize in the 90s, you know, what we got right now is derived from what we didn't have in the 90s. In the 90s, we had some good stuff. Japan kept some awesome stuff that never will see the light of day in America. And those games that you're mentioning is definitely one of them.
Yep.
Or did they hit some gems? They still.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It is crazy to say the least. But yeah, man, it's yeah. I don't even know where I'm going with this at this point.
I got games on the Switch right now that has not hit America. And y'all be mad if y'all knew what it was.
Right? Right? Yeah, you're always ahead of the game.
No, when it came to, but you were talking about WWE in terms of the surreal nature of what they do.
That's what it was. That's what we were talking about. I was literally trying to remind, how did Boris get to this tangent this time? That was the mental game I was playing.
You got coherent guests with incoherent hosts.
Yeah. Well, that happens more than not here in A+ Productions.
You're welcome. But yeah, there's a lot of things that WWE has done that made me feel like I can't, even recent Backlash, them mentioning MLW and all these name dropping all these companies with no fear whatsoever. Like, oh, you're mentioning them, you're going to give them a plug. No, this is a whole new level of what we're seeing right now. And it's just, I know people have PTSD. I did at one point, but I had to allow myself to give people a chance when they're looking to earn a redemption. Right now, WWE is redeeming themselves in a very good way.
Yeah.
Not perfect, but damn, are they putting in some effort.
Yeah. Regardless, they're not perfect. They're far from perfect. You have to remember, this is a $1 billion company, and the way that $1 billion companies are acting right now in certain places in the world, WWE isn't doing too bad.
I'm very surprised because, when it wasn't all this going on right now that we're going through, they were the ones doing it.
they invented the game. They invented the game, damn it. Don't hate the player, hate the game.
Exactly. But we don't want to hate this game. He's doing a great job. What he's doing.
Yep, the game playing the game. I love it. But yeah, man, it's so let's, again, before we hit Backlash, let's geek out a little bit. It's been a while since we've been able to do that. We're not going to get too deep into things. You brought up the Switch. Were you able to pre-order, or are you going to pre-order a Switch too? That laugh, I'm not sure if that laugh is, you're an idiot, you're crazy, what are you thinking, why would I do that? I'm not sure what that was.
I think it's a little bit of all of the above. It's like
right?
This age right now, like, dude, I got day one PS5 in 2020.
Yep, same.
That was hell. That was utter effing hell.
Dude, I lucked out. I don't know why. So I was in the middle of recording the It's Canon podcast, And I'm like, oh yeah, PS5, it's out. Not out today, but like the pre-orders start today. So as I'm like getting ready for the show at like 7 p.m., go on to Best Buy. I'm like, oh shit, I can pre-order it right now. Did so. That was that.
Dude, I can best describe my experience on Best Buy getting the Switch is the equivalent of doing bass fishing. It's like you got something snagged onto your rod and it's fighting you and it's fighting you. You almost got it and then it goes away a little bit and it comes back and a little bit and you wheel it in and damn, you got it. And it's like you lucked out. That's exactly what happened to me in 2020 with that.
Are we talking video games or my dating life?
No, the console.
Because that sounds like my dating life.
Oh, damn. Say less.
Oh, I will.
But no, seriously, like that was still, I mean, the amount of energy that just spent for me in 2020 was just crazy for that. I got day one Switch OLED in New York, and I lucked into that because I was in New York. So at this stage, I'm like, I've already been through this. I know what's going on. I know what Nintendo is doing. I registered for it, and if I was able to get it through Nintendo or Best Buy, then it's fine. I didn't stay up like at midnight to get it. I'm just like, oh, I'll get it eventually. I'm not in that. I'm too old to be in that that fear missing out type of crap, because it's just, I understand the publicity stunt that it is and what they're doing. So I'll get it eventually and I'll enjoy it, of course. And it's no big deal. Like, it's inevitable for me to have it in my hands. So I value my time and my sleep and don't want to end up like Boris, like he is right now. So I went to sleep and I'm like, look, I'll have it in my hands. People who know me from the show, people who know me in general know I get these things anyway. It's not a big deal. They will eventually have enough by the end of the year that everybody's going to eventually get one. You're not missing out on anything at all. You're not going to be, even if you did get it, what is it doing for you popularity wise that you haven't done? You're not getting laid and paid to have a Switch 2. It's not as deep as it is. And like, when you get it later on, you're still going to have just as much fun as the person who got it day one. It's a mental thing, and it's a flex thing. And I get it, because I flexed it too, but I'm just too tired. I'm at the age, I'm like, oh no, I'm good. Yeah. And I got games I already got on play. I'm ready to be playing or pre-ordered anyway. So
this also goes to your whole, the consumer is key. The consumer dictates things. If the consumers go hog wild for things like this, guess what?
Yeah.
Companies are going to naturally create the situation where we go batshit crazy for
that was exactly the point. That is exactly like these companies have focus groups, and they have some of these companies actually have therapists and psychologists that do data. Remember when a PS5 came out and they were talking about DualSense controllers?
Yep. They
hired psychologists to give us an understanding of how the DualSense capabilities are, with the way that the buttons and what do they call haptic sense,
the haptic
adaptive sense control mechanics work. And they use psychologists to get us a feel. So when we're playing games like Ghost of Tsushima or Forbidden West and all that stuff, and you're pulling the bow and arrow, it wants you to get in your mind that's what you're doing. Yes. So don't think that they have those same psychology groups to try to monitor how to, get a focus group, how to get attract a target audience. And Nintendo has this always way of, limiting the amount of consoles they provide to people. So you could create this type of hysteria. It happened with the Wii. It happened with the GameCube. It happened with a lot of it. Like, this is not the first rodeo with them.
Yep. Absolutely, right, and it creating this artificial market of it's sold out it's what you said it earlier. It's that FOMO, that fear of missing out, where you're gonna go batshit crazy to get it in. When you were saying like it is the whole,
and it's false feelings. It's false. I think your feelings towards it is false because you feel like your world is on end because your friends got it and you didn't, or whatever like that. It's like, here's my thing, especially with this economy today. my takeaway from this was just be glad you have the means of being able to afford a Switch 2 rather than have it day one. Because there are people out there that aren't able to get one.
They don't even
or
have
may
a
not
roof.
ever because they lost their job, because they don't have the means to even eat because prices are raising up. Like what we're going through right now is petty first world country, BS right now. So you'll get it eventually. And if you do, be grateful that you do when it happens.
Now I feel like an asshole for telling you this story. So story time with Boris.
Go on.
So I was already making fun of my cousin. I have this group chat with my cousin and my brother.
You better apologize to him.
No, not at all. I won't. I refuse to. Shut up, Norman. Yes, my cousin, my Latino cousin is named Norman, and I'm Boris. My family, great names.
I love that even more. That right? Just...
You know what my dad's first name is?
Harold?
Donald. Not much better.
I love it. I freaking love it. I don't know if you guys got the TV show The Neighborhood in your region.
Yep.
With Cedric the Entertainer in it.
Yep.
His neighbor just happens to be like his neighbor is white, but he has the blackest name in the world. And then everybody in his family also have like these black names. Like it's kind of like that situation.
It just reminds me of that part of Abbott Elementary with the first time that we meet Jacob's boyfriend, Zach, and then Ava's like, black? No, it's pronounced Zach.
Exactly. Oh my God.
All right.
That is awesome.
Back to what I was originally saying. So I was already making fun of him because of the whole delay because of tariffs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
Then a few days later, they announced that Canada was also being delayed. I'm like, motherfucker. But, I powered through. And the night before the pre-sales started, my friend, she messaged me and she's like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Let's meet up for drinks. I'm like, fuck. I got to be home early. All right. Homie, don't play that game. I didn't get home till like 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m.
Damn.
Fell asleep, dude, and I just like slept through the pre-sale. I'm like, motherfucker. But like you, like you, I am a mature adult, and I'm like, I'll get it when I get it.
Right.
Later on in the day, I'm like, I'm just going to randomly log on to Best Buy, no luck, log on to X stores, Y store, B store, whatever. No one had it.
Right.
I needed to pick something up from Amazon. And I'm like, let me just check here. Boom, done.
Nice. I will say this too. This is another thing people need to consider too. The first line of games that are coming out aren't like they're going to be remakes and all that stuff and upgrades of stuff. Like all the real established games that they're coming out with probably won't come out till 2026.
Are you just saying that to make yourself feel better that you're not getting a day one? I'm sorry.
Oh, it's a little bit both. It's a little bit of both. It's clarity. But somebody else pointed that out too when we were having that conversation. I mean, the PlayStation 5 did the exact same thing. We got the PlayStation 5, but like what games were we playing? The cross compatibility games we were playing until they started really coming out with AAA titles and all that stuff for the game. So it's not a complete rush. It's not like making me feel better, but it's seeing logic. That's based on a marketing and manufacturing standpoint.
Absolutely. So it's funny because I'm sure you noticed at one point, and no one can see this because I don't really record these shows for video, which we will start doing very soon. I was like staring deeply into my screen because I wanted to see what shirt and hat you were wearing. I wasn't sure.
Yeah.
I do.
Wait, say it again?
I wasn't sure what shirt or hat you were wearing.
Oh yeah, this is all anime. This is all anime right here.
Yeah. Well,
I gotta rock my Evangelion.
Yeah. I need more. That's something I need more of. More Evangelion merch.
Oh, I know the perfect place for you to go, man. Like it's the same drop. It's the same spot I go to when I go to New York Comic Con. But now I actually go to the website directly and get the stuff. Matter of fact, if you've seen my varsity jackets,
yes,
that I've had, they're all in the same company. All this.
Nice. Yeah. So I'm wearing my Joker.
I'll send you the link.
Thank you. I'm wearing my Joker t-shirt and a hat I picked up last night, actually. I'm like, I wear hats all the time. Like, yeah, right? It's nice. It's nice. I like it. I also realized that my head might be way too big for snapbacks now. And they always.
I'm not a big fan of the snapbacks either, but like I like the the baseball hats, the baseball caps with the curve and all this. That was me. That's me. I'm a '90s dude. Yeah.
Right, dude. I don't know how people.
I just now started like rocking like. Yeah,
I want to punch people. I want to start like punching.
I used to hate them too. Like I used to really hate them now, but it like took a while for me to get to one that I actually really do like or looks good in my head and all that stuff. But I'm baseball caps all day. Like
same here.
And new era, especially because new era crowns. New era crowns have this like this is a new era, I believe too. So the crowns are always good. It doesn't it makes it spaces out your head and all that stuff. But I want one with the bill curved.
Yep. And I have beautiful hair. Like I can rock my hair all day, every day.
You got Jim Lee hair. That's what I always do. That's how I always categorize your hair.
I do.
You got the hairstyle that I used to draw when I used to draw comic book characters. You have that hairstyle, that same line work that I do.
That's hilarious. What were we talking about? We were talking. Oh yeah, made fun of you for not getting a Switch 2. Done. And you know what the funniest part is? And this is the saddest part. This is why I'm a sucker. I hate being a sucker like this. Like I'm constantly telling friends, family, listeners of the It's Canon podcast, which you can find on A Plus Productions and itscanonpodcast.com, that I just haven't had the time or desire to play much video games lately.
Yeah, how about that? How about that? The irony of this. Whereas I review and play new games almost every week. I got literally over almost 300 in my library. And here you go.
I'll tell you what games I'm not playing.
Life is awesome,
when it comes out.
Say it again.
I'll tell you which games I'm not playing on my Switch 2 when it comes out.
Which is virtually everything. Wait, did you get the bundle or did you just got the regular base?
I was about to say I got the bundle.
It's so sad. I really want to just regular one, but I got the bundle anyway because I'm not really a Mario Kart dude. But this one just looks. It didn't. They say that they get me all the time with this.
It's the price.
Each one looks. Well, that's the other thing too. The price is like, all right, you get this game for cheaper. But you know what? Let's talk about real quick that price situation. As somebody who bought import games, I'm not really flinching with the price hike. Plus, I understand the inevitability of inflation. And with the part that I made fun of people on social media so much was because they thought that it was only a Nintendo issue of them hiking up the price and all this. I'm like, dude, this is not a Nintendo issue. Y'all need to understand what's really going on in the real world and understand that this is going to be an industry issue. And what happened? PlayStation hiked their damn consoles for everybody but the US. That's pretty sure that's premeditated. That's intentional for a reason. And then recently Xbox upped their prices.
Oh yeah.
Where are all these people now?
Uh-huh. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
So I had a Xbox on my Amazon cart since Christmas, because in Christmas, what the federal government did here was they cut part of the federal taxes called the GST for certain things. So prices dramatically went down for certain electronics and things like that, right? Anyways, it was at 0%. So I would have paid $5.99 for said Xbox. I just kept delaying it, even when the tax credit or like that tax scheme ended, as I like to call it, the scheme. I didn't get it. I'm like, whatever, I'll get it when I get it. Dude, it's shot up in price like $130.
Well, here's the thing. It might not be just worth getting it now because Xbox is on their way.
Yeah.
Well, not only that, but Xbox people and Xbox fans, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry. This is reality. You're going to have to hear it.
Say it. I know what you're going to say. Say it.
The Xbox is done. The console wars is over. If you haven't realized this, Gears of War is going to be on PS5. That is the biggest proverbial wave of a white flag have I ever seen it before. If you don't understand history, know that when your flagship titles end up in the competition in the competition's platform, that's a wrap. If you think I'm lying, look at the history of Sega.
I was literally about to say that. Dreamcast RIP.
There you go. And as a avid Dreamcast fan lover, it is what it is.
I'm a day one Dreamcast. I gave away my N64
Dude, I'm day one Japan
for a credit.
I'm day one Japan. Okay, you know what I'm saying? So like, I had a US and a Japan version of that system, and then later on, a few years later, at 2019, I think is when they not 2019, 2000. What year was that when they closed out on that?
One.
Yeah, I think it was 2001. You're right. Okay. So when they finally, just said, screw it, we're going to be a development company, a publishing company. And to see Sonic the Hedgehog on a Nintendo platform was the most surreal thing I've seen up until recent with WWE.
Yep. March 31st, 2001 to be exact, was when Sega Dreamcast ceased production and went into support mode when they announced its withdrawal from the hardware business. Yeah. I was going to say a joke about this being...
1997 is when it... 1997 is when the Dreamcast premiered.
99 in the States.
99? Okay.
September 9th, 1999. 9999999. That's how I remember it.
Wow. That takes me back. To see Sonic on a Nintendo platform was like the unthinkable at the time. And they did that to stay afloat. And to Sega's credit, they are still relevant. They are still producing, and now they even do films based on their IP. So it's not the end of the world. But even Phil Spencer admitted it a couple years ago that they couldn't hang with Nintendo. They couldn't hang with PS. So I'm sorry, folks. Xbox is on its way out, and plus I can play Xbox on my Samsung Smart TV. So that should tell you. And if anybody argues with me, get back to me when Kratos and when you see Kratos, Spider-Man, and Mario end up on an Xbox platform. You ain't saying it because they don't need the money.
Yeah, I've been saying that for you. Everything you said, I predicted years ago, especially as you saw Xbox really focusing on their game catalog or whatever it's called.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
You could see, honestly, you could date back to E3 and pick an E3. Each E3 was the same thing. The marquee showcase was PlayStation. Second was Nintendo and their Nintendo Direct and Nintendo Treehouse. Third always come in was Xbox. People will be in denial of that to this day, but it's the truth.
Yep. Man spits out facts, as they like to say. All right, Dax, let us jump to some WWE Backlash. Man, this is weird. When PLEs are just as long, if not shorter, than a Monday Night Raw or Friday SmackDown. I'm still wrapping my head around this.
You know what it is? I don't think it's shorter. It's the time that they have it. Because you got to remember, they got the pre-show, which I think is like 2 hours. Mm-hmm. And then the actual show
for not major pay-per-view.
Yes. And then they have the initial show, which is like 3 hours. But the thing is, at least for the East Coast, they started at 7:00. So when it's over, it feels like I'm like, whoever's doing these 7:00, whoever came up with the 7:00 start time, bless you, because that makes a big difference from 8:00 to 11:00. Because yesterday when it was over
of you making last call versus you having to stay home the rest of the night.
Exactly. We go back to when I went to Dynasty, and being there personally, it didn't feel as long as it ended up being when I rewatched it on TV. I was like, damn, this does feel kind of long. This thing was like 4 hours long or something like that. It was like damn near WrestleMania, for God's sake. But it didn't feel like that, when you're there, because you're all in the excitement and everything. But watching that last night, I was like, damn, this felt like a breeze, and it was a good breeze at that. So yeah, keep up the good work, and hopefully I can't wait to this 2 hour SmackDowns too. The 2 hour SmackDowns too.
1 month, in about a month, 2 hour SmackDowns. Cannot wait for that. I was just funny because people message me regardless. God bless everyone, and thank you to anyone who does message me. I love being able to chat wrestling with our listeners and other friends and all that fun stuff. And I was in the middle of the Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling show at the Mattamy / Maple Leaf Gardens yesterday. And we were not even near the main event when people were sending me messages. Backlash's main event is starting right now. And this is like 9 p.m. And I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah, I was like, I was surprised myself. I'm like, oh yeah, this came on at 7 o'clock.
Yep.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
All right, overall thoughts on the show. What did you think of the show overall? We're going to go into detail, but when you left and you turned off the TV, how did Dax feel?
I enjoyed it. It was solid. That's the best way I could put it. It wasn't like really like the greatest thing ever, but it wasn't the worst thing ever. And it was just, there was a lot of solid matches in there, a lot of standouts that I saw last night, and it furthers a lot some storylines. So it was transitional. It was a solid transitional show.
Yeah. Yeah. So
like by any stretch, I think it was like
on a scale from December to Dismember and to WrestleMania 17, it's kind of in the middle, is what you're saying.
Yeah, pretty much. That's an interesting scale that you put it in. Jeez. I don't want to get anywhere near December to Dismember. Wait, which one? Are we talking WWE's version or are we talking actual ECW version?
WWE's version.
Oh, good God, no.
Ooh, Paul Heyman essentially left the company because of how
that's when he got fired.
Yeah.
He got fired for that one. It was the God damn. That was not his fault at all.
No, they needed a scapegoat, and I'm sure they were looking for a way to get Heyman out.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That is such a story for. Oh, God.
Yep. All right, so yeah, I thought the same. So I will be 100% honest. I didn't watch the show up until 6 a.m. today.
Yeah.
And I was lucky enough to be able to fast forward. Thank you, Netflix. Through all of the bullshit in the middle. And again,
that's right. I forgot y'all watching through Netflix. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So again, I understand. A lot of people say the pacing sucks, this and that, but it's all commercials. There's a lot of commercials, and remember, ad supported Peacock, you got to put something in the middle where they can run those
here's
ads.
The thing too, people, you know what I learned, because I watched WrestleMania 40 last year before WrestleMania 41. You watch that again, those ads are not on there anymore. They show you the video packages of everything that they
full like real version, not the ad version.
Netflix also, if you like, there's a way to gimmick that where if you delay the time, you don't get the commercials.
Yep.
So it depends on how you do it, and depends on when they decided to just not do the advertisements anymore.
So we don't get commercials up here for even for Raw, right? Like they do segments. Like there's some promos that Americans don't get to watch.
Yeah, exactly.
AKA, we get full commercials. I like to call it the Karrion Kross segment because he's always on it.
I hear about these segments. I've never actually seen it unless I go on like social media.
Yep.
I hear they're awesome.
Most of them are. Well, they're either hosted by Jackie Redmond or Kathy Kelly. So I don't really know what's going on. I'm just saying. Yeah, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, Backlash was not bad. I was able to skip through all the middle stuff, and man, was a show even shorter than the 2 hours and 45 minutes that it had marked.
Oh my God, that's hilarious that we can't even sit through 3 hours anymore. We are such in a short attention society right now,
and we're old.
Like 3 hours is like in game,
dude.
At this point.
I was watching the show last night, the MLP show with Bob Kapoor from Slam Wrestling. You can also catch my report, slamwrestling.com, or you can go to the A Plus Productions Facebook group. Got a link there. And he was tired. And the show was 3.5 hours pay-per-view plus a half hour of dark matches before the show started. And he was just like, oh, I'm way too old for this. By the way, the Maple Leaf promotion, is it basically, can we see that online, or where can we, is there any way we can see it? Because you're from your pictures, the production looked
awesome.
Well, Scott D'Amore, this is Scott D'Amore's baby.
That makes
So
sense.
he's using a lot of the same people who helped him put on TNA shows. So I got to show you pictures of when ROH ran that same building for their pay-per-views. Dude, night and day, literally.
I bet. This is what I'm looking forward to when AEW comes to the 2300 arena, because I'm like, that's a small arena. He has to put in the best production in the world to make that place look the way it should be. I'm hoping he's looking for it to look, because barely, like, almost under 1,000 people can fit in there.
Yep. Well, NXT ran that place and it looked quite good for TV.
But that's different. Like, NXT you can expect that from NXT. You can expect that from ROH back then when it was on HDNet. A Dynamite show, I don't think should be there. But that's a whole nother discussion for a whole nother time.
Yep. I'm sure we'll have that discussion.
Yeah.
All right. Let us jump straight into things. WWE Backlash live from St. Louis, Missouri.
The home of Randy Orton, in fact.
Yep. All right. St. Louis is a nice city. I've been there a few times. First time I was there was on my way to Kansas City. Damn, that's a long drive from Toronto to Kansas City. 16 hours.
Sheesh. You are definitely a wrestling fan. You went the wrestling road.
Soccer. It was for soccer.
Oh, jeez. Oh, my God.
We start things off.
God bless you for that one.
I know, right? We start things off right away with the U.S. Championship match. Jacob Fatu versus Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest versus L.A. Knight. Yeah. All right, here's the thing. This match really laid the foundation and tone of the night, and I loved this match. This match was fast-paced, constant action, not that... And Matt and I always talk about this, but that trope of only two people in the ring and everyone else is kind of chilling, that's done. Yeah. And I love the fact that that's done. I guess they heard enough complaints about that. And this match was so good. MVP for most of the match, for me, was Damian Priest. Look, accidents happen. I know people are saying, but he may have injured Drew McIntyre. Dude, like, you can't control
It's
everything.
A sport. It's portrayed as a sport, people. And guess what happens in sports? Injuries. What happens in sports? Nothing. You watch NFL, they're not making perfect jumps, tackles, whatever like that. People get injured. When you watch basketball, people get injured. Even baseball, people get injured. Like, it's portrayed as a sport. So I don't mind little, like, mess ups every so often like that. Like, this is the part I used to love about ECW, is that, like, when they messed up, it's like, yeah, we acknowledge it, but also it's a part of the sport. You're not supposed to do everything martial arts choreography perfect.
It's also wrestling.
You're going to snag into some things.
That gritty, I kind of fucked up some, not to the point where someone gets injured, but that gritty, not everything needs to look perfect. I don't mind that.
We'll talk about that in one of the matches later on too. And I like, basically, but yeah, it every once in a while, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah. So for me,
it should be perfect. I think some things should be, even if it's portrayed that way, I think just for effect that you may, these techniques, these moves, they're not easy to do. And sometimes you pull it off and it's not going to be successful every single time.
Yeah. So for me, the MVP of this match was a Damian Priest. He put on a show for the fans, and the St. Louis crowd was hot, and they stayed hot throughout the night.
From the door. I think just the fact that Randy Orton's, in the building and, he's in the main event, I thought that was a perfect way to get the crowd hyped. But having all four of those guys, and especially Jacob Fatu, they made that man look like an absolute star. Not to say that he didn't need any of their help, but, like, you got three other really good established, guys in there. And it just, all of it, the rhythm of that match to me just set it off for the night. You're right. I agree. It, like, really just set the tone of the night. And people loved Fatu even more, especially after what happened.
Exactly, and then we're going to get to that because I have a couple things I want to touch on. So let's get to the match. So we're going to skip, like I said, there's action throughout the match. Damian Priest was being awesome. Eventually, McIntyre and Priest, they were on a production crate. Priest gouged McIntyre's eyes, and then he hits him with a South of Heaven chokeslam from the crate through a table. But unfortunately, Drew McIntyre missed most of this table and hit his head right in the concrete. And you can tell right away. You don't see it happen, but you can tell that he was hurt. And that's how they kind of wrote them out of this match. Back at ringside, Priest runs Fatu into the ring post. Then he slams his head on the broadcast table. Knight put Fatu on top of the broadcast table. And then that's when Solo Sikoa comes out to pull Fatu off. Knight goes after Solo Sikoa, and then he gets punched by someone around the barricade. And it's none other than Jeff Cobb.
The biggest mark out in my place was that moment. Like I completely like lit up. I even clapped for that. I was like, my dog was like, "Oh man, he gonna be loud
He's
again."
watching that shit again. He ain't walking me.
Pretty much. Like, are you gonna be like this all night? No, but it was my biggest mark out moment of the night. We knew he was coming. We didn't know when, but the fact that he's here and he's with with Solo now adds so much more depth to the story. It's awesome.
And kudos to Jacob Fatu for giving us those facial reactions. And he was like, "Who is this motherfucker? Why is he helping me? I don't need the help. But
he don't need a crystal ball to predict the obvious either. Like, something shady is going on."
That's exactly it.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly it. So Fatu finishes the match, does his moonsault on LA Knight to retain the U.S. Championship. After the match, Fatu just looks at Solo and Cobb, and then he walks between them and heads to the back with his title belt.
If anybody that can take the place of an enforcer character that Jacob Fatu was, you ain't picking nobody better than Jeff Cobb. Dude. This is going to be a very interesting storyline coming up, man.
Just the thought of a Jacob Fatu versus Jeff Cobb match gave me a bit of a chubby.
You know what I loved? That they didn't let him do the tour of the islands. I can't wait till people who never seen Jeff Cobb before see him do that. People are going to be lit. They're going to be lit.
And then I thought about Bronson Reed versus Jeff Cobb.
Jesus. When that dude come back, the kaiju battles that we're going to have in the WWE is going to be insane.
Yep. Great match. Perfect way to set the tone of the night. A lot of people may give a flack to setups and all that fun stuff about WWE programming, but they typically deliver on these PLEs, and that's what they did here. We're going to jump to the next match. And kudos to all of the mid-card champions. Out of the 5 matches, 3 of them were for mid-card titles, and these 3 went out to prove that they deserve those titles and not to shit on their title runs, because this next match was a perfect example of that. That's Lyra Valkyria, your women's IC champion, versus Becky Lynch. Oh, this match. Oh,
chef's kiss. Okay. We talked about my thoughts with Lyra Valkyria. I texted you one time, and every time I watch her, I'm only speaking for my opinion, my subjective opinion. I get Bret Hart vibes out of her. And I know that's a high praise to give, but she is one of the most technical people I've seen in a long time in that division. Do the things that she did, like she did last night. She had the perfect opponent to do it with, and to tell a story, to play, to do, to be able to work with her to that rate. I loved it. And I feel like the crowd is warming up to her more and more every time she comes out, because that song definitely tells you how much people are warming up, because they do the woo chant every time she comes out now. So the more she comes out, the more she performs the way she does in that rate that she does. She's going to be and by the end of this year, she's going to be hot, a hot commodity.
And having this Becky Lynch rub ain't a bad thing, which is, again, to the point, the crowd is getting behind her.
Yeah. And the way that they did it too was so awesome. I mean, the chain wrestling exchange.
Yeah. Oh, so
good. It was awesome.
That my one complaint is that a lot of Lyra Valkyria matches end that way, and I don't know whether it's a psychology thing where because she's not the biggest, she has to find different ways to beat people. I'm assuming that's what it is. Yeah,
she's Rio,
except she connects with the audience.
Yeah, no. Rio connects. I think she's just underutilized. I think Rio comes in. People know who she is, and then she does what she does. People get excited about her, and then we don't see her again for, so there's a disconnect between her. Whereas Lyra Valkyria comes in, and we see her often, and the more we see her, we more see her develop. She's not going anywhere. So I think there's the contrast between the two in terms of that. But their work rate is kind of, pretty similar in that case.
Yep. So Becky Lynch unties the top turnbuckle. Fast forward a few minutes. Lynch tries to run Valkyria into the exposed turnbuckle, but the referee gets in the way. Then went to ringside, grabbed the turnbuckle pad. Valkyria hits her Nightwing finisher. Love that name, by the way.
Yes.
But the referee was way too focused on the turnbuckle pad that she was late to make the 2 count. Lynch stuffed another Nightwing attempt. Lynch thumbed the eye of Valkyria, who was able to catch Lynch in a pin for a 3 count. After a series of pins and reversals, Lyra Valkyria wins the match. But Lynch says, She starts beating the shit out of Valkyria right away, puts her in the disarmor, and then a bunch of suits show up to get Lynch to release, and that was that.
Okay, let's kick back to that situation right there. 2 things. 1, shout out to the referee. She did a great job in that match as well. Got to give her credit. I forgot her name, but she did. Okay, she did her thing during that time, so she well paced that. I would argue, from a logical standpoint, like she should not be in charge of putting back the turnbuckles. She should be able to order somebody to fix those turnbuckles so she could do what she do. I think that logic needs to be changed. Second, I don't know the rule set of being able to yank somebody off of somebody else that is harming somebody else after the bell, but she and 10 other people at this point should have had all authority to pull her away from the disarmor. Like, you had all these, I'm sorry to say this, you had all these bigger, stronger people that was there, and they was just barely touching her like they were going to get sued or get HR, or like HR was going to come after them if they touch her in the arms or whatever like that. But you're trying to get her to, trying to save her from injuring somebody. Yank them hands off their arms. Like, they got to do better with that. But otherwise, takes nothing away from the match for me.
Yep. It was a great match. I know a lot of people really enjoyed this match. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Very good stuff. As you said, my major takeaways is Lynch going back into the heel persona so much more, and Lyra Valkyria being that spunky underdog that can always get the stuff done, that the crowd is really starting to get behind, and I am here for it. It's very interesting when 3 out of the 4 horsewomen are constantly putting people over.
Huh.
Notice that.
By the way, is that Bailey thing real?
No, not at all.
Okay,
not at all.
Just want to make sure.
She'll be back. Because
I think some people are taking it like seriously, and I'm like, I don't know. I thought this was a part of a story.
It is with this story. All right, we are jumping to the Intercontinental Championship match, the greatest. Second greatest, only behind Wade Barrett, according to Wade Barrett, IC champion, which was Wade Barrett. Let's touch on that.
Yes,
he is honestly the second best commentator right now that WWE has.
I would consider him WWE's this generation of WWE's Lord Alfred Hayes.
I love that.
In so many ways, I mean, because remember, Lord Alfred Hayes used to be a worker too. He used to be a wrestler too. He a manager, and he just took back to do commentating, and he just became tremendous at doing it. This is Wade Barrett in a nutshell. Like, he could actually probably still go back out there and do it maybe one time or whatever. But he's great. He knows, he's been in Hollywood. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to be charismatic. I love that he now is kind of he's in the gray type of guy.
He's a tweener.
Yeah, he's an in-betweener, but I love that he supports and greets the kids and all this stuff. I love this version of Wade Barrett. Absolutely.
Same here. He did a great job last night, especially in the sub-main event. But let us talk about this match. Dominic Mysterio versus Penta for the IC Championship. In the preview show, we all kind of said Mysterio is going to win this match. And a lot of people are going to be complaining that Penta is getting buried. Jax.
I'm so tired of the overused term.
Thoughts on that?
First of all, I never heard that, and I'm glad I didn't. I'm tired of the over excessive use of the word bury. Mm-hmm. I hate that term as much as I hate the term superhero movie fatigue. It's just a ridiculous term. It's being overused by people who got it from the people in the know, and now they're trying to make themselves sound like they're in the know. But it's overused. No, this is not the situation. I looked at this. My takeaway from this match was this kid is now a man, and he is handling his father's footsteps incredibly. He is his own man now. He is his own man. He said Guerrero.
I was wondering how long it would take.
No, he I mean, to some extent, yes, you're right too on that. But he is coming to his own so well, and that's not easy to do. Being that you're basing your technically, yes, you're actually right. You are basing yourself on two major legends that you are claiming is your father in a lot of ways, and the fact that he's able to handle his own at a WrestleMania, and then able to handle his own with one of the elites in that genre. Good word to use. There you go. It was awesome. I enjoy what he's coming into his own. We're seeing an evolution in Dominic right now, and I'm all for it. He's just fantastic. The match was great. How
much longer can you keep Jacob Fatu and Dominic Mysterio a heel?
I already think Dominic's a face right now, to be honest. He's just so damn entertaining. And I had to explain to my wife, like, this kid started out as a little, how old was he when he first did that angle?
8.
Yeah, I said 10, but yeah, I was close. But like, he was a little kid when he started this, and I guess he just got that bug at an early age, and he's learned. I mean, this guy's incredible. I can't wait to see everything. He keeps it in the straight and narrow. He's going to have the world.
Yep.
To him. I think probably by next year, he's going to be a face though.
Absolutely. And I love the fact, like, I think it was Carlito or JD McDonough who posted a pre-match picture of Dominic Mysterio, and it's like Dominic's just enjoying a PB&J sandwich. Like, this kid is a kid at heart. PB&J sandwiches, chicken tendies, playing video games. By the way, I love anytime that Dominic Mysterio is using Dominic Mysterio, he's beating up Triple H as his opponent in the background of Raw.
That's awesome. Yeah, man. No, yeah, it's only a matter of time. But I think what I think is going to happen, which I think a lot of people see is going to happen, is he's kind of playing the Rock role right now.
Yes,
he's the Nation of Domination Rock right now. It's only a matter of time, which means Finn Balor is Farouk in this case.
Dominic Mysterio at one point gives Finn Balor a picture of Dominic Mysterio, I'm gonna die of laughter.
That will be fantastic. Oh my god! But yeah, it's leading into that situation. So I mean, I think it is being. I think the seeds are being planted. Absolutely. And this is the thing. It took Finn Balor, JD McDonough, and Carlito, plus El Grande Americano to beat Penta. This was like Undertaker Royal Rumble 94 levels of stuff. Like, he needed 4 guys to cheat to get Except
beaten.
He didn't put him in a coffin and put it on fire or whatever like that. Did everything but that.
Yep. But that's the thing. Like, it took 4 guys plus Dominic to get beaten. Like,
yeah. And people, again, that's when the overuse of the term bury gets into, because you only get buried buried and squash are the two most annoying use of words that I've seen, because I don't think people understand what squash means.
No,
the perfect
Bob
definition
Backlund
of a squash
was buried and squashed 3 days after he won the title in 1994. That's buried and squashed.
Well, even more, the Road Warriors, any Road Warrior match in the 80s on NWA is a squash. It's the very definition. You ain't getting no offense at all. It is done. You just take the beating and it's over.
Yep.
That's a squash.
Yep.
When you get some offense, it's a competitive match. This was not one of those situations. You got 4 or 5 on 1. Nah, that's not a squash. That's not a bury.
Dom Dom ends up winning to retain this title. And El Gran Americano, did you notice, like, when he was just chilling because the referee couldn't see him, how he was doing the Shawn Michaels Playgirl pose?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Gotta love the people who respect the classics.
Yep, absolutely. Kudos to the WWE TKO marketing team for the ad placement and the sponsor of the next match, which was Karate Kid Legends. For those, like, how brilliant is that? You have a David and Goliath
talk about real quick
match.
Can we really quick talk about briefly with them doing stuff like this? We talked about this in WrestleMania when they had Fatal Fury as the biggest spot.
We bought the game because of this.
Well, I was going to buy the game anyway, let's be real, but like it even furthered my interest. I'm like, how can I resist the temptation not to get this game now? They put it's smack dab in my face at WrestleMania, for God's sake. It's brilliant. Now you're doing Karate Kid, and God, the AEWs of the world, marketing and promotion is such a big deal. I also say, even when it comes to games, Nintendo, promotion and marketing is a big deal. That's the reason why people always get mad when, like, why is Xbox not winning? Why is this not winning? Why is this not winning? Why is Nintendo still around? Because this is a 130 plus company. Because how old is WWE?
Right. 50,
we talking 50, 60
years, 60 years.
Because these long range companies understand marketing and promotion. And that's why they stay afloat.
Dude, I wanted to get hit by a car and hire Morris and Morris the entire night. I don't know why.
Oh, you mean Morgan and Morgan?
Yeah.
Which, by the way, I did not know they were that big of a law firm up until recent.
Because afford center ring ad placement, you're big.
Well, not only that, remember, they are now the law firm. I guess they took McDivitt's role now. They're now the official law firm for WWE and UFC.
When you're sponsored by a law firm, you gotta evaluate your business practices, I think.
I guess so. I was like, I thought these guys were local Philly guys. I'm like, no. I did not know they were like widespread. I was like, wow. So have you ever seen that? Wait, question is, have you ever seen that company before this?
Yes.
Before WWE?
Yeah.
So they do advertising your neck of the woods?
No, so the reason why I knew of them was because here in Southern Ontario, our American channels, ABC, CBS, ABC, we get the Buffalo feed. And in Buffalo, they air commercials for them. Okay,
that makes sense. Because I was like, wow, that is worldwide exposure right there for a law firm. That is kudos. This is why I love doing like graphic design and brand management and stuff like that, because
you never know how big it's going to be.
And to be honest, a lot of my love and fandom for my now path and career and all that stuff actually came from WWE. Like, honestly, like the way dating back to the Attitude Era, people are looking at certain aspects. I'm looking at how they design logos, how they market it, how they promote. And it's just an amazing, amazing system. Say what you will about their ill of their history and past. You got to give them credit where credit is due. They know how to mask themselves under marketing and promotion.
Yep. And speaking of that marketing, having this underdog franchise like the Karate Kid sponsoring a Gunther versus Pat McAfee match, brilliant. Exactly.
Damn near Disney. Damn near Disney esque in how they do this stuff.
There was no real, like for me at least, I never thought that at one point McAfee was going to win. But what did you think of this Gunther McAfee match?
Anybody who thought, and I hope that them people never bet it. I get back against Gunther on this
just for the odds.
If you know, I think the story here was no, he wasn't going to win, but how he was going to lose. And I just take note. Fun fact: this is the first time I've ever seen Pat McAfee wrestle, and I know he wrestled before in NXT, and I know he wrestled before prior to this in WrestleMania. Of course, I wasn't watching back then. This dude is awesome. I mean, he just gets it. And I know I'm late to the game on this, but damn, he gets it. I mean, I don't know if I ever seen a celebrity guest come, aside from Logan Paul, come in and do what this man has done psychologically.
You're saying Lawrence Taylor didn't have this level of, I'm joking, by the way.
No, I'm saying, no, honestly, that's the only person I saw.
Bad Bunny is the only other.
I've never seen Bad Bunny either, but I heard amazing things. I heard amazing things about him too. But even still, that's saying a lot that this generation of celebrities are coming in and these guys are really killing it.
It still kills me that I use Bad Bunny, good worker, in the same, like just the fact that he got in the ring is amazing. But yeah, no, it's true. And what's scary, Dax, is that for me, I don't know if any of our listeners think the same thing, who saw him wrestle, he's gotten older. He's not like in the ring ready shape. Like he slowed down a little bit. He was slower than he normally was.
Right. That's very interesting. I looked at that, was like, he played the role exactly the way, like, I think Bobby Heenan would probably be more proud of him.
That was a very Bobby Heenan performance of.
I mean, people probably don't know or probably don't look at history enough to know that Bobby Heenan was also a wrestler at one point, and JJ Dillon as well. And you had these guys who were wrestlers, and then when they became managers, they had to do things differently to make themselves believe that they're not that person anymore. So they couldn't be that wrestler that they wanted anymore. They had to be something else, and they had to be believable of being more inferior than the rest. And this is, you could tell how much of a fan he is in this whole thing about his performance. Even the flops and the mess ups, I felt like they were prepped. Like, well,
he's not a wrestler, so he's not going to do picture perfect moves.
Exactly. So he could get away, even if it was intentional, he could get away with it. But it was such an entertaining, and the crowd ate it up every step of the way. And then you add Michael Cole, which, by the way, I don't think I've ever seen Michael Cole this over in my entire wrestling life of his career.
Sorry, Blaine. I'm sure this match hurt Blaine through and through with the level of involvement Michael Cole had, but he was great in it. And this is what I mean about Wade Barrett. Wade Barrett was left alone to call this match, essentially,
and he handled his own. I took notice of that too. He became Gordon Soley for like and Joey Styles for like a few hot minutes, and he did absolutely great.
Yep. Point to this match.
You can't deny this match in all aspects. No matter, everybody who played a role in this match did it with absolute great. I don't want to say perfection, but it was superseded expectations.
They got the point across that Gunther was just playing around with Pat McAfee until Pat McAfee scared him a little. He's like, okay, I got to end this now. And that's what he did. Choked him out. After the match, Cole is checking on Pat McAfee. Gunther kind of looks down on them with that Austrian disgust. And then he kind of gives him kudos and just leaves the ring.
It was brilliant. It was the story. I think, if anything, okay, if we're talking about stories being told last night, this told one of the best stories of the entire pay-per-view. And I would commonly give Lyra Valkyria and Becky the second nod to that, but this one just told us. It was like, Jesus Christ, these guys get it. Pat McAfee just understood the assignment more than anything. I mean, critique wise, you got to give him an A+. Michael Cole adding on to it. It just reminded me of those NWA days. It was just an incredible match, just from a storytelling standpoint.
even the next, all the matches in this show had great storytelling. Jacob Fatu
That's what I'm saying.
and him being shocked and walking away from Solo Sikoa, Becky and Lyra the entire match, Dominic Mysterio and Penta needing guy like an Undertaker levels of getting screwed over, and then this underdog match, which leads us into the main event, which was for the WWE Undisputed Championship. John Cena versus the hometown hero, Randy Orton. Dare I say, this had a dusty finish?
Yes, it did. Absolutely, it did. And believe it or not, this was probably the least favorite match of the night, but it wasn't just not saying anything about, that it was a bad match by any stretch. It's just the other ones did so well in doing what they did and getting the crowd to react to it and all the stuff. Man, that's saying a lot. That's saying a lot considering who was in the ring. Yep. The main event and everything. But yeah, it was like I said, it was solid, but didn't compare to the other matches before it.
Look, they're almost 25 years older than when they started this feud. Like, let's be honest here. They're not spring chickens, but this match did what it was supposed to do.
But you can still tell a story.
Yeah. You can tell a better story because you have to think differently than I'm going to put on a show. No, I'm going to tell a story to get this match over, right? Like, and that's exactly what they did. You want to talk about like how this match went down, Dax? I'll let you kind of take it over if you want with all the ref bumps and how everything happened, and then we can talk about what we think is going to happen moving forward.
It was kind of a bloodline type of situation, and in so many ways, the ref bumps was great. Like, how many?
You can say that now that you've seen the entire bloodline storyline.
Exactly. Definitely was that, the smoke and mirrors type of situation. How many refs did they have? Because it felt like they had 3 and they ran out of refs, and I could have swore they had more than that. And at this point, like, what is it? Oh God, I'm blanking out at the GM's name.
Nick Aldis.
Nick Aldis, yeah. Like, couldn't he just become an unofficial ref at this point?
That's the thing about this match, right? We've seen the scenarios where stuff like that happens.
He could have saved himself an RKO from that point.
Yeah, right? So all the ref bumps happen, and then the match couldn't continue because they ran out of referees.
I mean, I guess it was what it was. Wait, they did not. Where was the female refs?
Right? I don't know. You know what Michael Cole and or Wade Barrett should have said is, this is the main event. A lot of the staff went home already.
They could have interjected. They could have added that on it, indeed. But I would assume
true too.
But from a logical standpoint, I would assume refs would have to stay in case of a situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
you know what's funny?
Everybody but the refs need to stay. You never know what's going to happen. She could have brought herself in here.
Ref, right? Like, there's so much things that could have happened. I'm sure there's some wrestlers who still have a valid referee license.
Or Nick Aldis.
Yeah.
Like, he has the final say at this point. Like,
that's the one logical thing about this match and this ending. Then I'm like, smart, creative, but
there's an asterisk in this, indeed. Otherwise, still, it was entertaining at best.
Yep. So Nick Aldis and a group of producers, they run out, they check on the referee. Orton's pissed off. He drops Aldis with an RKO and a bunch of other producers. He backs into a corner of the ring. He sets up for a punt on Cena until R-Truth runs out and blocks Cena from punting him. And this comes back later in the night. Funny enough. And then Orton drops Truth with an RKO. Cena low blows Orton. He waited for Orton to stand up and then hits him with the title belt. Chad Patton returns to the ring and he makes the 3 count eventually. And in 27 minutes, 50 seconds, John Cena beat Randy Orton. After the match, Cena just says, "I know you can't see me, but can you hear me?"
I do want to say one thing. I do want to say, like, I do like when Randy did get, he did end up getting, what is his name? R-Truth. That basically he did say, he looked at him as like, why would you do this? Yeah. Like, people are all confused. It continues the narrative that like everybody's confused about what's going on.
And that's exactly it, Dax. It's very well done overall. Look, like I said, these guys are not spring chickens anymore. Yes, this match may have been overproduced at the end with the ref bumps. Yes, we probably lost some logic. Yes, it was a dusty finish at the end of the day. But I don't want to sound like
it worked.
People are. Yeah, that's exactly. It just worked. It just worked.
I mean, you could I guess if you wanted to book it a different way, you could possibly, but regardless, the end result is it worked. We enjoyed it. We got out of it. And it's just a transitional thing. It's by far not the climax of the story. We're just getting started with this.
And this match was my least favorite of the night by quite a bit, to be honest.
By default, pretty much.
Yeah, by default. Default. Yeah, it's overall it was a very half okay main event. Great show. Dax, how would you rate this show? Thumb up or thumbs down?
Definitely thumbs up. Absolutely thumbs up. Without question.
Same here.
There's no debate.
Yeah.
There was a lot of transition. There was a lot of transitional points to storylines and everything in here that got us like, okay, I got to watch Raw and SmackDown this week.
Dude, it made me, even before you told me to make sure I watched the presser, I was going to watch the presser because you never know what's going to happen at these pressers. And they proved that this time. You want to walk us through that?
Yeah, apparently, like, I saw it this morning because I didn't watch it last night because, ironically, I do watch these pressers and not really much comes out of it, but they're entertaining at best. Yeah, the one I miss out is like all of a sudden something actually happened that makes sense. And basically John Cena, because you never know how John Cena is going to respond to these press conferences. He comes in, he'll just troll the hell out of somebody. At one time, he just says nothing, leaves. The second time, he just goes and asks everybody a question and says, your question is awful. This time, you got to give him credit. There are always memorable moments with his press conferences, at least. But this time, he was talking, and R-Truth comes in and compliments him. Yeah. But in R-Truth fashion, he always adds on a little bit too much that leads to somebody like having some disdain about him. Finally, this time around, it bit him in the ass because he basically said, I'm glad that, you won the title and you're still the champion. Even though the people and the fans say you can't wrestle. And the look on Cena's face, because Cena's a great actor these days, there was no peace being made in this response to him. Peacemaker took him out. Basically said
there was no
peace in this. And he said, you just say one more thing, literally one more thing, and it's not going to benefit you. Not to that, to some extent to that. And he said one thing, and he just quickly gripped him up and AA'd him to the table. The response, or the lack thereof response from the reporters and the media and the press, was awesome. Because it's like, nobody's going to follow up with a question.
I think people were more shocked that things happened.
That's how rare it was. It's like, I wanted so bad somebody to say, I got one more question. While R-Truth is on the crowd.
That would have been and if John Cena, you know what? If I would have planted someone to ask a question just so that John Cena goes back, sits down, and like acts like nothing happened.
Or says like, or just does what he did before. It was like, your question was I forgot what he said. Like, but this is not a good question. I'm out. And drops the microphone on R-Truth.
Yeah, like he did at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, that was, you guys say what you will. This Cena heel turn has been like an off again, on again type of situation. There are parts of it that you don't like, but there are parts of it that you really do like. You hate the way that The Rock is not even connected to this for some odd reason, but it's still hanging. It's still hanging. It's still, it's on a level.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing what he does next.
Exactly. That's exactly it. All right. We got some feedback. We're going to go to the Facebook page for feed grab, as we always do. The best place to keep in touch with us, add your feedback, add your thoughts, add your comments, is by joining the Facebook group. And the best way to do that is by going to facebook.com and searching for the group A Plus Productions. All right, Blaine with the comments. This is what he had to say after last night's show. Still kind of feels weird for the PLEs to be shorter than the TV, but I guess that's a good thing. I feel that pay-per-view should always check 3 boxes. Strong match quality, the feeling that you would have missed something had you not seen it, and it leaves you wanting more. I feel that this show checked at least 2 of those. Opening match was good, but didn't bring me out of my seat, though something newsworthy came out of it, which got the show off to a good start. Becky versus Lyra had really good match, though I was very surprised at the outcome, but it looks like this one will continue, and I think that's best for Lyra. McAfee versus Gunther was exactly what it needed to be, though again I was kind of surprised by Gunther's display of sportsmanship at the end, especially considering how the rest of the match went. I think many people expected a cheap shot there. I kind of dozed off near the main event, to be honest. It was okay, but I just don't have any interest in either guy. It's funny, because when I was in high school, there was a pay-per-view headlined by Hogan versus Flair, who were only a few years older than Cena and Orton are now, and people were mocking WCW for putting 2 old guys well past their prime as the headliner. Yet for some reason, fans are more accepting of Orton versus Cena at this stage of their careers. That said, I think we can expect more finishes like this one for the foreseeable future. And then they set us up to expect a major run in or return, and instead it's just a Cena promo that could have been saved for TV. I'll tell you why people were not accepting of it's done. Enter Boris's comments now. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why people weren't accepting of Flair and Hogan. Number 1, they looked old. And number 2, for years, WWE made fun of Hogans and Flairs and Savages and others. So we were accustomed to thinking, these motherfuckers are old.
Right. You know what's funny, too? And when he said Hogan and Flair, you know what's funny? I was thinking WWE when they wrestled, because I went to the Spectrum when Ric Flair first came into the WWE, and I've actually saw them in their prime during that time wrestling each other in a house show for WWE at the Philadelphia Spectrum back in the day. I didn't even think about the WCW version because they were a lot older by that point.
In Toronto, when Flair and Hogan finally faced off 10 years later after the fact on a random Monday Night Raw.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is, too? I will say this. There is some parallel comparisons between Cena and Orton and Flair and Hogan. Like, you got 2 wrestlers who can't really wrestle like that
anymore,
and 2 wrestlers who actually can wrestle, and they're fighting each other. And there is some similarities to that. It is. I do get that part.
And there's a little, not necessarily true, but can be true-ish to a certain extent with Hogan and Flair, but with Orton and Cena, that's a Batman Joker relationship that they got going there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, very true. I mean, and that was a great part.
And getting his ass kicked type of relationship, right? Like, it's inevitable.
That's exactly true, John. I mean, like the video packages all through the run of this was, evident of that. Like they were explaining to people how much their rivalry is gone. I mean, at the pre-show, Big E said it best. I don't know if you watched the pre-show, but on the pre-show, Big E said that their rivalry predates the Xbox. Certain times in history, that's how long ago that's how long they've been fighting. The Xbox wasn't even invented yet. The iPhone wasn't even invented yet. So our smartphones weren't even invented yet when they were wrestling and they were rivaling.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Yep. It is.
And I'm like,
it is, isn't it?
I love the Big E for doing his homework, first of all.
I love Big E because he does his homework. And secondly, he like us, we always throw a nerd reference in.
Well, I mean, he's part of the culture, man. I appreciate him.
Yep, absolutely. All right, as always, facebook.com and search for the group A Plus Productions. That's where you can leave your feedback. We always have threads for all the big wrestling shows, and because we're more than just wrestling, you can talk about almost anything almost anything. Dax, as always, thank you so much for joining me. I know I hate keeping you long, but time just flies when we geek out and nerd out and chat.
I just get a kick out of the fact that even after I produce my own show and do everything that I, be the one-man studio, that I could go into another show and don't have to do all this shit. So it works out.
This is why I love podcasting with you, because you're the only person where I can take a back seat.
Well, it's also a support group.
Yeah, exactly. A+Productions.com is where you can find all the news for A+ Wrestling. We got two feeds. We got the A+ Productions feed, which has all of our shows, and then we got the A+ Wrestling feed, which is exclusive to wrestling content, and that feed is going to be used a lot more in the near future. And as I've been hinting, we're going to get some news out there very soon on where and when you'll be able to listen to A+ Wrestling ... Some really cool stuff coming down the pipe for A+ Productions and specifically A+ Wrestling. Again, the Facebook group is the best place to keep tabs on us. And that's by going to facebook.com and searching for the group A+ Productions. Dax, let us know where we can find your awesome work.
Well, I do a show called ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, where we cover all things anime, comics, movies, and games. You can check that every week with 2 episodes, one a video game extra podcast that I do called Select Start, and the Prime Show Talk Time Live, where you talk about all the news that's going on within our favorite fandoms, some reviews, lots of reviews on movies and video games, and you never know who may be stopping by to for an interview. I interviewed many people in the world of your favorite fandoms, actors in anime, video game developers, writers, producer of Marvel and DC projects. You name it, they've been on here, and I enjoyed every bit of the time. We've been around for 10 years now, and we're celebrating our 10th year anniversary as we speak. So if you want to check us out, you could go to our official website at talktimelive.com, and you can check out all of our archive episodes, the video exclusive interviews, and more. A lot more content on there. You can also check us out on wherever podcasts are played: Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Audible, Pocket Casts, you know it. Even places I don't even know, because
you don't know where your podcast gets fed.
yeah,
there's bots.
You find your shows on some crazy places, man. Yep. Like, what is it? Like, yeah. I'm like, Talk Time Live does what with who? It's like, what's going on here? I didn't know we were categorical, but but nonetheless, just go and go to your favorite podcast platform. Go to the search engine, type in ACMG Presents Talk Time Live, or you could Google ACMG Presents Talk Time Live. Check us out. Keep us going and keep us growing as always. Thank you again, Boris, for having me on. It's always been fun.
As always. And you know what you can do for both Talk Time Live and A+ Wrestling / A+ Productions is subscribe and leave a review. Those reviews go a long way to help the algorithm. Leave a review. Even if you don't like us, let us know, and we'll find you, and we'll take care of you.
There's a special office in the alleyway in areas of Toronto that
we'll get Morris and Morris after you.
That's the other affiliate of Morgan & Morgan. That's the one I didn't want you to know.
All right. On behalf of Dax and the entire A+ Productions crew, thank you so much for listening. But most importantly, stay tranquilo.